Hello and welcome to There's No Business Like, a podcast where friends and industry colleagues explore topics and interview leaders in our industry of professional theatrical touring. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to There's No Business Like. I'm Danielle Van Hook from the Alden in McLean, Virginia, and I am here today with my friends Katie.
Hi, everyone. Katie Traska-Miller with Michigan Maven Creative Associates coming at you from mid-Michigan.
And Bryan.
Bryan Zelmer from Bardavon Presents in Poughkeepsie, New York.
All right, so we were racking our brains today and trying to figure out what to do an episode on, and brains weren't braining. There's allergies, there's weekends that aren't our own, and there's lots of other factors, I think, going into this brain fog situation. So Bryan had the wise guy idea to put a very detailed prompt into AI and see what AI wants us to talk about this week. We haven't looked at these questions prior to right now. Bryan hasn't, we haven't. And we are going to see where this takes us. So Bryan, let me turn it on over to you.
Sure. So my really deep question prompt was, hey, AI, give me some questions. No. I asked it to give questions for us specifically at There's No Business Like. So who's going first? Let's go to Katie.
Okay, here we go.
Pick 1 to 4.
3.
It gave me 4 different topics. Okay. So you picked industry, insight, and professional path. In there, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions. So pick 1 through 5 now.
Give me number 2.
All right. What's a part of your job that people assume is glamorous, but absolutely isn't? And I'll just preface saying that this question can be for your current job or any job you've ever had.
So this was one of my favorite parts of my job when I was at the Playhouse at White Lake, like a long, long time ago, was giving the curtain speech. So I would get up and give a curtain speech before every single show. And, you know, you get up in front of people and you have to put on your personality and people think like, oh, it's so easy. It's definitely not. So, because you really have to energize yourself before you step out on that stage. And when I was running that venue completely by myself, you know, up to 45 minutes before the show, before we open the doors, I would be vacuuming the theater, washing windows, prepping the box office, working with the artists, checking in with the soundboard op, all the rest of, you know, whomever was in the building. And then I would have to like flip a switch and turn on, you know, professional Katie to welcome guests in and then hop up on stage. And just remembering all the things you have to remember when you step out on stage to do that without a note card. It seems glamorous, but it's definitely not, because you're like, wait, what's coming up next? And what do I need to promote? And what fundraiser? And all of those things. So it can seem really easy, but it's really challenging because of all the other things that you're doing leading up to that moment that you step out on stage.
Great answer. All right, Danielle, you can pick 1 through 4. You can pick the same one that you heard the topic of, or you can try a different topic. So it's, again, 1 to 4.
2.
Topic 2 is audience behavior and front of house stories. So now you have 4 questions to choose from.
4.
What's a front of house challenge that people outside the industry would never guess exists?
You know, the one that bothers me the most, because I just don't think we've come up with a good way to address it, is like our house is small. We don't have an aisle, and you know, the aisles on either side are wide enough for a person to walk through, maybe 2. And the back, there's really no extra space. And our entire building, there's like a lot of funky angles happening. And so we don't have a spot where we can seat people who have accessibility aids that aren't wheelchairs. Mm-hmm. Where that person can like see their device or can easily get to it. And we have a system to deal with it that works. But, you know, I know that, you know, being separated for something like that is not an easy thing. And you're putting a lot of trust in people that you don't know. And that is, I imagine a lot of people a lot of people don't think about accessibility, and it's why the world is the way that it is. But, you know, once you really start trying to make things better, I feel like you maybe move the dial like 1% and you make yourself incredibly angry.
That's a great one. All right. Since I have the questions and I want to keep it fair and honest, we'll have Katie pick the topic 1 through 4, and then Danielle, you'll pick my question.
Wow, that's so fair.
Okay. I'm going to go topic number 1.
Venue touring and backstage life.
And 3.
Oh, I didn't tell you how many there are. There are 7. There are 7 questions in this one.
Well, 7.
Okay. What's a show where the load in was more dramatic than the performance itself? Oh my gosh. When isn't it?
Yeah, spill those beans.
So I had a comedy show when I was in New Jersey running the Sussex County Community College Performing Arts Center. And oftentimes the comedians would perform, especially when it was on a weekend, would perform in New York City. They'd run up, do my show, and then run back to the city because they would do like 10 shows a night and, hopping from club to club and whatnot. And my show was ready to go. The audience was in. It was time for the show to start and no sign of the headliner. And I'm freaking out and I'm like calling and nobody's answering and pacing. And I'm going out in the parking lot to see if they get lost and didn't know how to get to the back of the theater because that happens sometimes. And so finally, I see this. I don't want to say the name of the artist to call them out, but they came up in this like really flashy car and pulled this person drove up to me and rolled down the window like, "Hey, do you know how to get to the back of the theater?" And I'm like, "Yes." And I told him who I was, and he's like, "Hop in." And so we went to the back of the theater. He had to do a donut real quick before we went in, and then we rush right into he walks right onto the stage, and boom, he goes. Like, it was crazy, and the audience loved him, and then he rushed right back out. So that was one of the times that I was very stressed out. All right, do we want to do another round?
Yeah, let's do it.
Now we get to pick them for each other.
Oh, I like that. Go ahead.
Okay,
so 1
here we
through
go.
4 topics.
And I forget what they are now. So 1.
1 is venue touring and backstage life. So this is for Katie.
Yeah.
All right. And I didn't read them yet. So and we already did 7. I already highlighted that. So I'm going to say 3. What's a piece of venue equipment you wish audiences knew existed because it's secretly heroic?
I have one. Okay. So this isn't a piece of like theater tech equipment, like a lighting board or something like that. But the industrial vacuum cleaner is indeed heroic to all venue facility managers, because can you imagine the amount of stuff that gets tracked into a theater on a regular basis, particularly when you live in cold, snowy, wet, muddy climates? Like, the industrial vacuum cleaner is your best friend because it can suck up pretty much anything. And then there's also spilled popcorn and candy and stuff that gets crushed into the carpet and all of that. So, I have much respect for the vacuum cleaner as a former venue manager.
I'm just glad Josh is not on here to make this inappropriate. All right. That was a good one. Do you want to pick the
yes
Danielle's question now?
All right. I'm going to go with number 4 again.
We haven't done number 4.
We haven't done number 4. Okay. So let's go with 4.
4 is fun, playful, and personality driven. And there are 4 questions.
Okay. You're going to pick?
Oh, right. I'll go with number 2. If your venue had a mascot, what would it be and why?
All I can think of are my personal favorite animals. So I'm going to go with an otter because our tagline is small stage, big talent. And otters are, in the idea of the animal kingdom, are quite small. But on like energy level, they're big.
Perfect.
So I think we would need something that's like small but big at the same time. And also adorable.
I love
that. That's a perfect answer. Yeah.
Great.
That's great. So I think you guys now pick for me, right?
Yes. I'll pick the topic. Daniel, you pick the question.
Got it.
All right. I'm going to go with number 4 again because I like this one.
So there are 3 left. We could say 1 through 3, but it's actually 1, 3, and 4.
1.
If you could instantly master one performing arts skill, dancing, lighting design, stage management, etc., what would you pick? Dancing, because I had to dance. I was a music theater person, in my younger life, and I got through, but I was a terrible dancer. Like, I had to work twice as hard as everybody else just so I looked like I belonged on that stage when I was dancing. So that's the skill I would want to have. Okay.
Follow-up question. Can I ask a follow-up?
Sure.
What would be the style that you would want to master first?
You know what? Any of them.
I would like to see Bryan tap.
Yes, me too.
That was the hardest one for me. I had to tap in a show once. Oh my God. I don't know how those people that had to teach me that did not go insane, because Oh my gosh.
I just think you could be a very charming tapper.
Absolutely.
I just don't have it. I just don't have that in me.
You got some Fred Astaire vibes there, Bryan. I can see it.
I was going to say jazz or something like that, but I think tap is the answer.
Okay. I like it.
Oh, Katie hasn't done a 4 yet. Give Katie a 4.
A 4. Okay, yeah. Should we give her 3 or 4?
3.
3. If you could swap jobs with someone in the industry for one day, who would you choose? It has to be a real person.
Like a real role or an actual person?
Well, let's say it's a real person.
Like it can't be the koala from Sing.
That I've met and I know.
No. You didn't have to have met them. They
Okay.
could be someone you saw on TV, but it needs to be a real person.
Okay, I cannot remember her name off the top of my head, but have you seen this? I love the behind the scenes stage manager videos when they're like calling the cues on Broadway shows or on national tours. The stage manager for Maybe Happy Ending, if you have seen her call a show, it is incredible. And as a stage manager, I at first would love to just like be that good and be able to call a show that fast, but also to be behind the scenes of Maybe Happy Ending, I think in particular with the technical elements of it. I think if I could do that for one day, I would definitely do that.
That's a good one. I don't think we have to know her name. I mean, she's a real person, so I think that answer qualifies.
Okay.
Absolutely.
There you go. That's my answer.
Industry, insight, and professional path. This is only Katie answered one out of this.
Oh, okay.
So you have, 1, 3, 4, or 5. Katie, which one do you think? 1, 3, 4, or 5?
4. Give her 4, Bryan.
Number 4, what's a decision you made in this industry that felt risky but paid off?
I mean, I've talked a little bit about this before, but when I was in my late 20s, I left Wolf Trap, which was luckily my first job right out of college. Yeah. And I knew what I was doing and I felt very established in that organization and with the partners that we worked with. And, just in a lot of ways that you can kind of feel established in a program. And I just didn't want to work in education. Like I loved it. I'd even considered being a teacher, but I just didn't want to work in arts and ed. And I tried to get a job in a venue for years, and that didn't work out. And I mean, I was lucky enough to get a job at APAP in their programs and resources department. It was a lower grade type of job. But I really kind of felt like I needed to reroute a little bit at that moment. I think there probably are some new skills I learned there, but I really learned the people that were, really highly thought of, the people who were leaders of that organization and others. I heard a lot of people talk and, made my own, had the opportunity to then listen to what other people thought and then make my own conclusions. And that, at the time that felt super risky, just, because I didn't know what was to come after it. If I couldn't find a job before that it was a thing I wanted to do, how was I going to, do it afterwards? But, sometimes you get lucky and have the skills to back it up.
It's Bryan's turn.
Instead of having you guys pick this one, I just quickly scrolled through all the remaining questions. I didn't read them, but I was skimming the words and I found one, and our early podcast listeners will know why this one is chosen. So here's the question. If you could time travel to see any performance in history, what would you go see? So there are a huge mile-long list of names that I would love to go see that I can't, and time travel would be required. But and instantly I was thinking the Beatles, but then I realized no, because at the actual Beatles performances, all you could hear are the women screaming, and so I wouldn't be able to hear the Beatles. So I'm not going to pick the Beatles. Instead, I would love to see Spalding Gray again. I got to see him in Slippery Slope, but I'd love to see him perform Monster in the Box or Swimming to Cambodia live. I've only seen recorded performances of those, so that's my answer for that one. All right, well, thank you guys for playing. This was sort of fun.
It was fun.
I thought they were good questions considering they were from AI.
And we don't necessarily endorse the use of AI for anything creative other than maybe this.
Honestly, I'm a little bit sad that it didn't just go off the handle at any point.
Yeah.
That there wasn't the question equivalent of 12 fingers, And
I mean, and to be honest, we do have a lot of, ethical and moral quibbles with AI and the use of it. And that's a conversation for another time. But for this purpose, it was pretty fun. So thanks, Bryan.
Sure. And I should have said this up front, but my voice isn't quite there and my head is not quite there today because I am suffering with allergies. It's that time of year. Spring is definitely here in the Northeast. I'm sure it is already where you guys are too.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, it has been sprunging.
The trees are just blooming in Michigan now. So we're just finally getting spring here.
I don't know if this happens where you live, but every spring there's that one day where you wake up and your car is just covered with pollen.
Yeah.
That happened just the other day and now I'm feeling it. So
yeah. We'll feel better, Bryan.
Yeah, thank you.
And hopefully you get a big rain. All right. Well, I mean, that was our episode today, friends. I hope you enjoyed it because I really did, hanging out here with our friends. And as always, we hope that you tune in with us next week. So stay in touch, my friends. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening to There's No Business Like. Our producers and hosts are Bryan Zelmer, Josh Benson, Kevin Maynard, Katie Miller, and me, Danielle Van Hook. Views expressed in this podcast are ours alone and are not reflective of the organizations we are a part of. Keep up with us at nobusinesslike.com. There you'll find links to all of our episodes and socials. If you like this podcast, give us a like, a follow, a review, or our favorite, a 5-star rating. Oh, wait, what was that site? I got it, don't worry. It is nobusinesslike.com. Do I sound out bus-I-ness every time I type it? Yep, sure do. Stay in touch, my friends. Now let's each pick a question and then we'll answer it for the other person.
Okay.
No. I was just trying to figure out another way to up the ante.
Twist it. Yeah.
Da, da, da.
Get some steaks.
Then we'll add in bed on the end. That was the blooper.